What's up, guys? Setsuko here, back with another VOD review. Today we're VOD reviewing Setsuko, and I'm sorry that the game starts at 1-3, but Setsuko was watching, like, David Attenborough talk about animals or something like that. So, we get the game at 1-3. I mean, you get the main idea. It looks like the portal is... That's an artifact anvil, right? Yeah, it looks like there's an artifact anvil portal, so that should be interesting. But that's not really why I wanted to VOD review this game, just because it's an artifact anvil portal. I mean, that's a cool portal, sure. But Setsuko played a comp in this video that a lot of people have been talking about a bit. Wow, someone already called Bard. Pretty interesting. This is a comp that there's a lot of anticipation about because it was buffed this patch, and Setsuko is going to reroll a few augments here and then immediately see Divine Rolls. And it's so wild. Divine Rolls, I mean, this is such a Setsuko play, by the way. Setsuko does this so often where he just sees an augment and says, F it. I don't want to say the other word because I'm at the start of a YouTube VOD, but he just says, F it. I'm going to play KhaZix Reroll from this spot. It's Divine Rolls. I mean, it is the best augment by far to play this comp from. You really, I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? It's going to get you to those 3 stars. He even picks up a bunch of Dariuses here for potential, like, Darius 3. Item-wise here, there's actually a lot of good options. Spectral Cutlass is, like, a pretty mediocre one, but it's a fun one. But I would say the best one here, and this is what Setsuko ends up taking, is Mittens. This artifact is so strong right now. It's so good on stuff like Lee Sin, and I mean, it makes sense. You get a bunch of movement speed, so your units can actually, like, get to the backline and kill people. You get that immunity to chill, like it's just, you get like a billion attack speed. So this is one that I think a lot of people like to take. You see the Hizuo basically like flies across the board because he has Mittens. So yeah, I just think Mittens is a very well statted artifact, and so cool to see. Let's go pick it up because this is one that, you know, not everyone is talking about, but it's very good. But yeah, I mean, so far we don't necessarily have to play KhaZix Reroll. I'm curious when Setsuko actually sort of like commits to the KhaZix Reroll angle. Maybe even here, because he wants to make 10 gold, which makes a lot of sense. He still gets a whole lot of stuff, and yeah, he can slam all this stuff onto Mr. KhaZix here. He also made a Titan's Resolve, which is kind of an interesting slam. I think, you know, you would think that this would play towards a duelist, I would say, in this spot. I would certainly think that this is a duelist game from this position, so I'm really curious to see how Setsuko kind of bridges the gap from this duelist setup into what it ends up being a KhaZix setup. Picks up a Yone here, which you can just put onto this board. He's thinking about potentially getting out of the Malphite for Kiana for a second, but I mean, yeah, you certainly play the Malphite here. The only other consideration is, do you want to play Yorick over the Darius here for Behemoth? But Darius is a pretty solid early game unit, and 2-star, you probably do want to play him. But if it comes down to the point where you can maybe make gold, you might want to just put the Yorick in. Duelist isn't going to be that relevant on this board if you're playing for a KhaZix 3. But like I said, I know Setsuko goes for KhaZix 3 here, but I don't know if he even knows that at this point. Now, we have open Sword, I believe, right? Sword can be a ton of different things. I would like to get some kind of healing, I would think. Maybe you just end up making Sterax, though. No Sterax, so what's he going to go for? Glove here? Do you even... I mean, surely you don't make an IE onto KhaZix, right? I guess we'll save. I mean, if there anyone who was going to slam an IE here, it would be Setsuko, who would just, once again, the F-it mentality, just make every single item that you get. But looks like even Setsuko isn't interested in making an IE onto KhaZix. He thinks that's maybe a bridge too far. So we're just going to sit on this component. It is a bit sad because we might end up losing our streak to somebody because we can't really make an item here, but we'll see. We'll see how the next couple of fights go. This fight, the Zyra with Zanya is a little scary, but KhaZix with his Mittens is, ooh, it's really close. Oh my god. I mean, that's definitely an IE diff, but, you know, you can't necessarily, like I said, it's just such an awkward slam, right? You really don't want to be making the IE there. So I could see why he went for that setup. He ends up selling off the Yorick here, so he just prefers to play on the Darius, and he's looking at selling this Nico if he loses the fight. He also gets a Kobuko 3, which is, I mean, not the worst option. I guess you'd prefer Kobuko 3 because it's a little bit extra frontline for this KhaZix. It's going to make it really hard for them to target the KhaZix. But it's not, definitely, you know, not the best option. I don't know what the best option would actually be here. The other thing is, I've heard so many mixed things about whether these units, these 1-costs, are taken out of the pool. Everything that makes sense to me says that they would not be taken out of the pool, but I have heard some, like, TFT fake news from people that they are taken out of the pool, but so far, I'm going to go with what makes the most sense, which is that these are not taken out of the pool. But we're going to get 4 Heavenly units in for our Heavenly Rolls, so we're going to get a bunch of extra Heavenly Rolls here. We get a Sword here. Could be Edge of Night. The only problem is then, once again, we're sort of lacking that healing. Yeah, we have a lot of items to actually put down here, a lot of melee items. So we're going to roll down here, pick up That's another KhaZix. That's a Kiana that we definitely want to hold here. That's 6 KhaZixes. And Setsuko, I mean, even right here, he's sort of committed to KhaZix reroll, and the fact that he rolls extra, like 1 extra time there. He didn't have to keep rolling in that situation, but he rolled 1 more time, saying, I have 6 KhaZixes I want to play towards this KhaZix. And like I said at the start of the video, KhaZix did get buffed. Wow, he's just going to keep rolling here, actually. He rolled 1 extra time. He knows that he can still make 30 this round, and he still has some stuff on his board. Does he? That he can sell, actually? I don't know if he has anything that he wants to sell. I mean, if you're playing this line, you would definitely not be upset with something like a featherweights. I guess you could go team building. I hate team building, personally. I would snap pick featherweights if I'm thinking of playing KhaZix reroll. He doesn't want it, though, and he's just going to go with the blistering strikes. I mean, blistering strikes another fantastic augment. The only downside is, you know, like, we lose the... God damn it. What? Like, he's... No, Setsuko, you can't show these videos. They're gonna get my YouTube bot demonetized for using somebody else's content. Okay, at least he only showed it for a second. But yeah, I mean, blistering strike's another fantastic augment. I maybe wouldn't have gone for it because, I mean, you do have the option to make, like, say, a Sunfire here. Sunfire is not an amazing item, though. It's a little awkward. I mean, I love blistering strikes. I just... once again, maybe he's still not actually committed to KhaZix reroll in this position, and something ends up actually getting him there to KhaZix reroll. We're going to take the... That was gold on Allied Death, correct? Because I think Setsuko is now that confident in his board. I mean, and his board doesn't look amazing. And yeah, he's going to start making some other items here. Like I was saying, we have already, like, way enough items for KhaZix. I wonder... I know, like... I know a little bit of the future in that... Well, no, I know the past at this point in that he ended up playing around KhaZix 3 this game. But I don't know what his final board ends up being. Like, there's... Is this a KhaZix Yone game? I guess we'll find out here. We get some gold here from all of our units dying, which is pretty cool. We can start actually slow rolling next round if we want to go for KhaZix 3 once again. We'll see what Setsuko wants. And, I mean, last item here is so interesting. I thought he wanted, like, BT, though we still don't actually have the option to build a BT. And yeah, Setsuko looks a little bit lost here, trying to figure out what to take here. I guess that could be, like, a last Whisper onto Yone? I don't know. I mean, are you going GS on a KhaZix? And yeah, he's certainly at this point hard committed to KhaZix. Rolling here, slow rolling his gold here. Also looking for the Malphite 3. Yep, he does end up going just for the last Whisper here. Going to be, you know, damage onto our Yone. And there's maybe the idea that KhaZix can jump to backline and then Yone can jump to backline, and LW, the unit that KhaZix is hitting. It's a little bit hard to have it happen, but it could happen if the stars align, so I could see it. But I mean, so far, we're pretty far off KhaZix 3. I would say this is not a high roll game by any means. We have not found that many KhaZixes. We had our opponent revealed for the rest of the game. I really don't enjoy this encounter that much. It might be kind of nice for Setsuko, though, because he can position KhaZix in places where he can jump to backline. He is going to pick up that Malphite, and it does end up being Malphite 3 along with the penultimate KhaZix. So we got 1 left to find KhaZix 3, and yeah, I mean, the upside is... I was going to say we hadn't lost that much HP. I mean, 65 is not high HP, though. But yeah, I mean, the board isn't bad. We are on a 4-loss streak, though, and you do really... Generally, when you play one-cost reroll like this, you want to be hitting, like, not this late. You do not want to take until 4-1 to hit on your one-cost reroll comp. At least he hits it now. Definitely should get the Nico in over... Yeah, I mean, I even love this level because it's free, and so yeah, we can get our 6 units in. That's going to be 6 extra free rerolls from our Divine Rolls. So that's going to be really nice. I guess you just go level 7 here and use the rolls. A duplicator as well. Maybe this could help us get to potentially a Yone 3 if that's something that we want. There's a Kindred, which he's looking at playing here. So yeah, it's going to be 4 Reaper plus KhaZix. I mean, it makes sense, right? There have been so many buffs in the past to just everything relating to Reaper, just because Reaper has been so underwhelming this entire set. He does finally find the healing item for KhaZix, makes the BT there. So yeah, a BT Titans Mittens KhaZix. It looks like he's just doing a Lee Sin cosplay, honestly. These are some great Lee Sin items. And yeah, gonna sell some of these units just to make econ here. But yeah, 4 Reaper, 4 Heavenly is gonna be the setup here. Pretty cool. Armistice. Oh, okay, so this is buffed Grim Harvest. So we actually, maybe we're kind of cooking here. Buffed Grim Harvest. I'm actually so hyped to see how this does. And yeah, he's even thinking about getting out of this Yone here and just moving the items over to Kayn here, because, I mean, it makes sense to duplicate the Kayn. The problem is you've duplicated a Kayn with 0 items. And Yone's kind of a bum, so yeah, I could certainly see this making sense. I like this a lot. This Yone unit I just don't think really does anything. And I mean, it's fine. What we do here is we have the items on Kayn, we use the duplicator for Kindred 3, and then we just give up on Yone, because even with the buffs to Yone 3, the stats still say he's like the worst 3-star 3 cost in the game. So yeah, I am happy to not invest in this Yone here, and we'll just chill on this board for a little bit. Our next level, probably another Heavenly unit. I've seen some people, I remember way back when people talked about like the 4 Reaper 4 Behemoth version of this comp. Doesn't look like that's what Setsuko's angling for here, but that is certainly another angle that you could go. I guess you do really want to, when you're playing on KhaZix 3, have as many Heavenly in as possible because he's getting that extra Heavenly bonus. But yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, it was not an ideal setup from like what our rolls hit and what our items were, but augment-wise, I would say there's not much better than Divine Rolls into the Grim Harvest as our last augment here. This is pretty perfect augment-wise, so it'll be great to actually see what the cap of this comp is, how well this comp can actually do. Now, our arcane items at this point, we kind of are in a similar spot to where we were with KhaZix here. We don't actually have a healing item onto him. I think we might just make the Sterax here and say, like, we have enough, though. Like, we don't actually need to build a dedicated healing item onto him. We'll see. We'll see what Setsuko ends up going for. And yeah, he does just go for the Sterax here. Says, I don't need dedicated healing item onto him. This is the setup that we have here is good enough. And I think I agree with that statement. And this also allows us to play for tempo, right? We're a little bit low because of how our early game went. Making Sterax means we can actually play for a strong mid game. KhaZix just jumping into the middle of the back line. And I mean, he's popping off. This KhaZix 7.5k for a 3-star 1 cost is no slouch. I mean, this unit actually looks pretty good in this situation, and it kind of, I mean, don't get too carried away, but it looks like we might actually be able to top 4 in this game that honestly looked a little bit doomed towards the mid parts of it, where we had all these awkward items. We didn't have KhaZix 3, we were taking all these losses, but we hit KhaZix 3 and we hit the Reaper Augment, and this board's kind of cooking. Item-wise, with the chain, I assume we're going Malphite item from here, and we're just going for tank items. I don't think, like, we already have 6 damage items, so I assume we should build some kind of tank item. Oh, and this fight, this would be for our win streak, but we just barely lose. He tabs out in rage to go look at like a video of a seal like trying to find its mother or something like that. But that's not gonna help you, Setsuko. Okay, in any case, we also are in here, kind of interestingly, was the Shen, the Ghostly Behemoth. I mean, fits on the board well. Ghostly for Kane is really, really big. I kind of see it. It's interesting though, like he had the option to pick up something like an Orin and he said, nah, I don't want it. We're gonna roll down here with our free rerolls, hoping to just find the final Kindred and then we can duplicate here. If we don't, it looks like he's not interested in continuing to roll here, and he does end up just getting 5 Heavenly in on this board. Malphite items here. This is actually really, really awkward, actually. What would you guys go for here? Because I was thinking about the Gargoyle, but then once you make Gargoyle, then your other item is really awkward. And then you could go Steadfast Heart would be another idea so that you can use the Cloak for something else. But then what are you using the Cloak for? BT on the Malphite? I mean, that sounds pretty bad. I mean, you have to build one bad item, I guess, is the idea here. What would I build in this situation? I think I would probably just go Steadfast BT and just suck it up and say BT is like half of a tank item onto Malphite. But it's not ideal. Okay, he's gonna go. Whoa, he doesn't want a single tank item. He's gonna go items onto Yone here. Like, this Malphite here is just cosmetic. This Malphite 3 is just sitting on the board to. I mean, he's got some tank stats, right? But he starts itemizing Yone here. Man, I think I would have itemized the Malphite here in this issue. I mean, I definitely would have because that's what I said I would have done. But I can kind of see the Yone, and maybe he just thinks the value for Reaper. My question is just how much damage is Yone doing in these fights? Like, is it worth it? Because I feel like the Gargoyle plus the BT on the Malphite, he actually would have been significantly tankier. But I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I mean, I think this is a comp that no one really knows how to play because it only exists on this patch now that KhaZix is actually a bit stronger, now that 4 Reaper is a bit stronger with the buffs to... They buffed Grim Harvest this patch again, I believe. If not, they buffed it last patch for sure. But I mean, Yone, that fight did less damage than the 0-item Kindred, so... Yeah, I do not know if I'm a believer, personally. But hey, we pick up a Yone 2 in this roll down. Pick up a Kindred 3 with the Duplicator. He's holding on to this extra Yone with some hope of hitting Yone 3, but I mean, I don't even know. It's probably not even worth, like, because we're not going to roll more at this, right? We're just going to push level, try to get in the 6 Heavenly with the Wukong, and, like, that wants to be our board, right? We don't want to be playing this setup as any longer. Like, we don't really want to be playing around Yone 3. Because he's not that strong, and because we're so far off, right? It's gonna take us so long. Look at this KhaZix go, though. 6.4k damage. I mean, kind of a beast there. It looks like Kane did a lot of the rest of the heavy lifting. Item-wise here, I mean, I guess at this point we have to go for last Yone item. Gunblade could be something. Nashers, because Gunblade got taken, at least it's a damage item. Yeah, I guess you have to take Nashers here. You can also throw Nashers onto the Kindred. It's a little bit awkward because now we're 1-item Kindred, 2-item Yone. Like, we certainly would have preferred a Yone item here, I think, because he's the last... Because he's a 2-item Yone, but also maybe we don't because we just want to give up on playing around the Yone. But, you know, normally in TFT, you want to finish your items on your units, but Nashor's quite a good Kindred item, so, I mean, we can be pretty happy with that, at least. You really want to get to, like, the blue buff for Kindred as well, and then this board will really be cooking, I think. But it's just so many items, right, to get to the Kindred items and everything. Oh my god, that Zanya's actually almost bailed that guy out, but we still just barely end up winning that fight, and we are going to make it to stage 6 with the Divine Rolls. That all but guarantees that we're going to find a Wukong. We can put in, I think we were holding an extra Heavenly. Oh no, we aren't holding an extra Heavenly, but we still have a lot of Heavenly units in, and if we find an extra Heavenly unit, we can throw that in for an extra roll from Divine Rolls. So, I mean, our spot, I mean, against all odds, it looks pretty good. I mean, not against all odds. These augments are fantastic, but I'm a bit blown away by how well this board is actually doing here. We're on a 4 streak. We only lost 1 fight. There's the Soraka. Got to get that in here for an extra reroll. Kind of funny, yeah, that he was holding on to Lysandra for a second, because I think our chance of playing Lysandra on this board is, like, negative. I would rather play, like, a second Kayn than a Lysandra, I think, or, I mean, much more reasonably like the Ornn that we have in shop, but yeah, like, I would much rather hold the Ornn than, like, anything else here, but I think maybe he's confident that he'll hit here, and, I mean, he probably will find a Wukong on this amount of gold, or something playable. He's got the Irelia as an option. Boom, there's the Wukong, comes in immediately here, and this will be the board. He also opts to get in the Morgana here, which is pretty smart. Gives Sage to the entire board. Yeah, this is probably max cap. And he does end up selling the Yone, moving the items over to Wukong too. It makes a lot of sense. This Yone, like I said, is just not doing anything in these fights. The Wukong will be a much better holder of these items. But yeah, actually, the Morgana in here dropped down to 5 Heavenly, but you get Ghostly and Sage for your entire board is a big deal. All of this Omnivamp onto your entire board. What did he drop? He dropped Soraka, because he doesn't really care for the AP onto someone like KhaZix or Wukong. I love it. I love it. I think that makes perfect sense as a way to cap out this board. And so, yeah, you just play. I mean, this build was meta-ish, right? At the beginning of the set, where you would play 4 Reaper with as many Heavenlies. You'd play, like, 4 Reaper Morgana, and then, like, I think you played Heavenly with that. I don't know. It's been so long since the start of the set that I don't perfectly remember. Also, ooh, this is a rough fight against that Lilia board. That Zanya's is just so annoying. Without Zanya's, these fights would be so easy. Also, we have 5 Kayns. There is a world where we hit Kayn 3 here. A very real world. I mean, surely no one else is holding Kayns, right? I mean, we just would need to get, like, 1 off Carousel, something like that. You'd need, like, where's our encounter Carousel that has, like, a duplicator on it or something? That would be the best here, but sadly we don't have that. We fight this guy. Was it our clone who fought? I think we just fought this guy back to back. I think it was clone into real, which is really, really rough, because now we're 2 HP and this guy is 36 HP and streaking. So our only out here is Kayn 3. I fully expect Setsuko to just roll it down here, try to pick up Kayn, go for a death cap for your Kindred, I guess. I mean, it's the best item here for sure. I think blue buff would have been, like, as far as, like, ideal situations. But yeah, roll down here, pick up all the 4 costs you can to try to up the odds of you hitting Kayn. Looks like we are not hitting that many Kayns, though. We hit 0 Kayns on the roll down. My god. So it is probably just going to be a third for Mr. Setsuko here. I mean, I think a third with a 1-cost reroll comp is pretty acceptable. A comp like this is gonna have a lot of trouble going first, just because you're playing around weaker units in general, 1 cost. But hey, I mean, a third is a third in a lobby like this. This is a really close fight. Oh, but the Udyr clutches it back. Oh my god, if we had won that fight, it actually would have been a second. So close to being a top 2. But a really cool game from Setsuko, actually, playing a comp that I think a lot of people are interested in, a lot of people want to try out. And hey, if you get Divine Rolls, Grim Harvest, I say absolutely try this out. Seems like it can certainly work. And I mean, like, this game was almost a second. If we hadn't fought Spetham those 2 times, I think we would have gone second this game. So this game was almost a second. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please like, comment, subscribe. Do I have any announcements? Oh, I do have an announcement, actually. My first ever Metafy class, link in the description, but it's basically like coaching, but it's cheaper than regular coaching, and it's gonna be like a class of people, and we're gonna, you know, talk about TFT. The topic is strongest board in TFT, so if you've stayed this long, I don't know, you're probably a dedicated viewer, go check it out. Link is in the description. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.